The Alliance for Education started more than a decade ago, and it started with a group of committed leaders from the fields of education and business and just the community getting together to say, how can we make a difference in education? We all had a recognition that education, like health, is so important to the lives in our communities. And we also had a recognition that no one group, education couldn't do it alone, business couldn't do it alone, faith-based organizations couldn't do it alone. We had to all come together. We had to come together in an alliance. And that's where the name the Alliance came from.
It had come to our understanding that our high school graduates, if they didn't have a higher education, whether it be a training program or a college education, they were going to spend the rest of their life in poverty. And we had the responsibility to provide something different for them. That education has always served as the key to economic prosperity and for a richer life. And for us to do that insulated from the realities of the labor market, the realities of business, I think the greatest inspiration that I've had from the Alliance is that the Alliance truly brought all those forces together and moved in a meaningful way.
Times have really changed, and the advent of what I believe science and technology has brought into our communities has really changed the workplace dynamic. So today, students, for example, with a high school diploma are probably not going to find work that is going to allow them to raise a family, to take care of their needs. They're going to need to go on to something post-secondary. And as we can see how technology has woven its way through just about all facets of the workplace, you're going to need skills in those areas, and you're going to need to understand the principles by which those tools have come about. You're going to need to be able to understand those things. And so you're going to need to have a much stronger understanding of the math, science, the engineering, and of course the technology to make that happen.
It was important for me to be a part of this process because I realized that we would be reaching out to a wide spectrum of people that had particular needs that they needed fulfilled, business, labor, and education. And as a labor representative, I was proud to be a part of it.
First time I met Malcolm Driggs, because Malcolm represented union and I represented management, and you know how that goes. First time I ever met him, I see this guy just sitting there real serious and rigid. And I don't know, uh-oh, this guy's really a strong union person. But we got along famously. We started talking about why we were there, the benefits to not only union, but workforce development. Doesn't matter if it's your union or business.
You know, I recall when I think back, God, it's been 10 years now, to the beginning of the Alliance, and I saw a core group of people in this community that were interested in really transformational change and figuring out a way that we can couple in our education system innovations, business input, and economic development input to really have education have a purpose and meaning to our cities. This kind of collaboration didn't occur before. It was a difficult collision of individuals that were all individually concerned and performing admirable work in their various stovepipes, but not really integrated for a regional economic development strategy that was aligned among these various system participants.
You need the partnership of community colleges, the universities, the K-12s, all working together. That's an important one. There's the partnership of labor, of government, of community-based organizations, of faith-based communities that are all very important. If they're not all playing together and they have the same common goals, then you don't keep the community together and you don't really make a difference in the product that's coming out in terms of how students are succeeding in their education.
Well, I felt the Alliance was really important for community development and bringing that bridge in there because someone had to do it. The community themselves, the parents, the key players, they would not come to the Alliance. They probably would not have attended a meeting or any type of call to action, etc. They were more comfortable with their settings of being at places such as a Boys and Girls Club or a church or even a community center per se. And we needed to be that bridge for this new formulation of the Alliance, and making sure that the people of the community knew that this was being put together actually for them to elevate, educate, motivate, and inspire their kids through the programs coming together.
You knew it was going to work when you saw the collaborativeness of the people who are participating in the process and the Alliance for Education. Because they were pulling together, the fact that they were working together to make this happen from all different kinds of sectors that you just don't commonly see working together. You got business, you got the unions, and all pulling together, schools, the professional teachers, everyone really working together to make the Alliance for Education successful.
I was on the far left, or middle left, and Mary Jane Lasso and Bob Cruz were on the right. And I was wondering where this was going to go, because in negotiations I get somewhat heated as a union representative. And the funny thing about it was, or humorous thing about it, was that we all were coming from exactly the same place. What we could do for the youth and bringing up the living standards for the populace in San Bernardino County.
I was part of the business side of Alliance, so for me it was how can we better connect with schools and let schools know, educators, what was the current need for business. And then as we worked with other task force, seeing the students become involved and seeing how they came to life and how those hands-on experiences just made them a little more eager, and you walked away just feeling, this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is why we do what we do.
I think one of the main challenges for me as the co-chair of one of the task forces was, how did we get this big project and really drill down to something that was going to be very relevant? And that became our key word. How can we make this relevant to the students in the classrooms, the teachers that were teaching this, the standards? How can we make that relevant to the workforce, the real workforce? So I think that was, to me, the initial challenge, and we were able to overcome that with the help of the Alliance and with some other business partners. But you take this huge concept, and how do you really make it doable? How do you make it so people are actually paying attention and it provides benefit? So I think we were able to do that.
When I look at the pathways for students coming out of high school, I mean, yes, we all know the four-year college route and the degreed route, and certainly don't want to dissuade any of our students from pursuing that. That's admirable pursuits. But it's also important that these career technical education programs that train a technologically literate workforce are earning sometimes factors higher than our college graduates. So it's really important that we not limit students' access to only college, let's say, and only value that route, but we also integrate career technical education for a purpose and ultimately for careers that can ultimately contribute to the economic development and well-being for themselves, their families, and their community.
Students take coursework that they actually learn how to apply the academic knowledge to some field. And so if they get excited about that field, whether it's firemen, law enforcement, plumbing, electricity, computers, they're going to find a field that they have some passion for and some excitement to do. What they will find eventually is, as they get into that career, that they're going to need further education if they want to move further along in that career.
When I think back about my career with 40 years starting as a teacher and having many, many positions, one of the areas that I have particular pride is the Alliance for Education. And it's not so much about me, but it's about we. And my thoughts of the future for the Alliance is that we continues to stay the focus of the Alliance and that the partnership just grows.
The future of the Alliance is simple. We're going to take it to scale. We have to do it together, and we need everyone's help. We need help with fundraising. We need help with community involvement so that families are engaged, so that educators know that we're here to help and provide resources so that everyone can achieve the American dream.